and welcome back to a new video, which today is all about why I think it's so important about what you wear. I know there's going to be pushback because there is a feeling that it shouldn't matter what you wear, you are who you are and people should accept you as who you are. But I want you to watch the video and hopefully by the end of it I'll have persuaded you that there is importance in what you wear. So let's get into the video. So before we start on the new series, which I talked about last week, I wanted to talk a little bit more about why I think it is so important, especially over 50, to be thinking about your wardrobe and to be taking what's going to be some amount of time in getting it to a point where you are really happy with it. Now, I know that for a lot of women who turn 50, their confidence does plummet. And this can be for all sorts of reasons. It also can be due to time rather than just the fact that you're going through the menopause or that your hormones are causing you issues. Because once we get over 50, although if we've had children, we might be getting to the point where we have an empty nest, this is also the time when we start having to look after elderly parents. Over the last year, I've had so little time to spend on my wardrobe and it's really suffered because of that. And because of that, my confidence has also suffered and the way that I feel about myself has suffered. And this is one of the foundations of why I think it is so important to think about what we wear. Because whether we like it or not, there is unconscious bias that goes on. And I want you to think about a situation where perhaps you go to an event and you see a woman on the other side of the room and she's kind of trying to back into the wall. She's sort of disappearing. She's perhaps dressed very conservatively or inconspicuously. She's nursing her glass of wine. She's not talking to anybody. And she really looks like she wants the floor to open up and for her to disappear into it. And she doesn't want to be here. And if this is the first time you've ever seen this woman, that is your first impression of her. What do you think of her? What is the story that you're telling yourself about her? On the other hand, you go into the same room, you see a woman over the other side of the room, she's perhaps dressed colourfully, her makeup is done beautifully, she looks really well put together, she's chatting and laughing with people. And your story about her will be completely different. Now, this could be the very same woman. It's just that outwardly she looks different. And so what you perceive about her is very different. So whether we like it or not, people do judge us on our appearance. And if you haven't spoken to a person or got to know them, the only story that you can tell yourself about them is what you believe from looking at them. And as I said, whether we like it or not, in society there is this bias and people will look at you and they will make a snap judgment about you. So that happens regardless of your age. We all know about this. We all know that we only get a certain number of seconds to make a first impression. The trouble is, as we get older and perhaps we start to spend less time looking after ourselves, it becomes even more important because it also really affects your self-esteem. So that first woman that I described is clearly not feeling good about herself. Now, had she perhaps spent some time before she went to that event blow drying her hair, putting on a lipstick. It doesn't have to be a bright red lipstick, it can just be a lipstick that really suits her. Accessorizing her outfit. Immediately you're going to have a different first impression of her. And so that's why I really wanted to talk about this whole thing about thinking about what you wear, the impression that you're giving, but also what it does to how you feel about yourself. So we've all heard about that saying, perception is reality. There are lots of other sayings that back this up as well. I mean, think about that famous one. I think it was Marilyn Monroe that said, give a girl the right shoes and she can conquer the world. How different do you feel when you walk out of the door in the morning knowing that you look good? It makes such a difference to your day. And I know it's hard to just say, right, I'm going to be confident. It doesn't actually work like that. We have to build our confidence. But part of that building our confidence is knowing that we look and feel good. I can remember years and years ago, I used to be in software sales, believe it or not, and I can remember going on an appointment where I was doing a presentation, and stupidly what I didn't do was check my outfit from all angles before I did my presentation, because this was in my much younger days and I was wearing a skirt above the knee. When I sat down, the skirt rode up quite a long way, and so for the whole of the meeting, rather than thinking about the presentation that I was doing, I was thinking about how much of my legs were showing. And so it really knocked my confidence during that meeting. I can remember another time, and I think I might have told this story before, when my husband and I went to a birthday party. It was a friend of his, it was somebody I didn't really know, and we turned up at this party, and it was a big birthday. I think it was a 40th or something like that. And so we'd got quite dressed up. I was wearing a nice dress and a pair of heels. Again, this was years ago when I could wear heels. And my husband was dressed quite smartly. He had a jacket on. And when we got there, what they hadn't told us was that this was a Western themed party with line dancing. So everyone was wearing jeans and checked shirts and Stetsons, and we felt so out of place. Now, it always does pay to be more overdressed than underdressed, but in this situation, we just stood out like a sore thumb. And so there is an argument that people will say, well, I don't want to stand out, so I'm not going to wear bright colours or anything like that. But on the other hand, you want to be wearing things that you feel relaxed in, you feel comfortable in, and that you feel really confident in. And so I'm not saying that you have to get really dressed up to the nines just to go to the supermarket and do your shopping. But I do want you to think about the way that people treat you. And this can be, whether we like it or not, very much to do with the way that we're dressed and the way that we look. Because if you've ever been in a situation where you've been in a group of people and you've wanted to make a comment and you've kind of been ignored, and it just makes you feel very uncomfortable, it makes you feel even more insecure. Now, there are going to be certain people in that group who won't be ignored, and if you look at those people, it's not necessarily that they're the loudest, it's the fact that you look at them and you think they're credible, you think that their opinion is going to matter, that they're going to say something of interest. And again, going back to this bias thing, it's wrong, it shouldn't be like that, but sadly it is. So we have to work with those limitations. We have to use them to our advantage. So what I'm saying is that not you have to, as I say, get dressed up to the nines just to go out of the door in the morning, but to really think about, are people going to take me seriously? Another example that I want to give is, over the last year, I've spent an awful lot of time dealing with social services because of my mother. And there's one lady that I've dealt with in particular, and we don't want to think that we are biased like this, but I have to admit that I was. Now, this particular lady, a lot of the dealings that we had with her were on Zoom. She would turn up late, her lighting would be terrible, she would be half cut off in the image, she would turn her camera off right in the middle. Now, it may be that she wasn't very confident about being on camera, but all of this gave me the impression that if that's what she's like, how is the service going to be that she's going to provide us? And I just didn't have confidence in her because of all of this. So there's all these little things which do play into how we perceive people and how people are perceiving you. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about when we go through this whole process of creating your perfect wardrobe, and as I say, we're going to have a series of videos that talk you through all the different stages, But I want you to think about, first of all, what your minimum standard levels are going to be. So I'm not saying that you have to get up every day and put on a full face of makeup, but what is the minimum that you want to do every day that is going to make you feel good about you? Because that's where it starts. It starts on the inside, and once you've built up your own self-esteem and you've built up your confidence, you know that you're not going to be somebody who's going to get up and throw on whatever's handy. And you'll know I've said this saying before, that this'll do outfit, because it won't do. It's not good enough for you. You deserve better than that. So what is going to be your minimum standard? Getting up in the morning and having a nice outfit to wear that you feel good in, and maybe your minimum standard is that if somebody turned up on the doorstep, or if you happened to pop out somewhere and you saw someone unexpectedly, that you wouldn't feel embarrassed about what you're wearing. So that might be where you start, and you build from there. And think about just how little things can make such a difference. So I've got Dolly with me here today, and she's demonstrating that just by having some accessories on, that can make such a difference to how you look and feel, that you immediately look more put together. So even if you're at home and you're wearing something comfortable because you're planning to be at home all day, and perhaps somebody calls you and says, oh, do you fancy meeting in town for a cup of coffee? Now, you could be wearing a pair of joggers and a t-shirt at home, but there are ways that you can style that up a little bit just to look a little bit more interesting. So if you were to throw a wrap over it and a scarf and a little crossbody bag, immediately you look like you're well put together, even if on the bottom you've got a pair of trainers. But it's also sort of thinking about how you can make your outfits look a little bit more modern as well. And so I wanted to pop in here a pair of trousers which are currently for sale. I won't mention the website that they're on, you may know. But if you look at this outfit, it just looks really frumpy and really boring. And that is, to a certain extent, the kind of things that we as over 50 women are being targeted with. Now, that outfit could be very simply changed. You could keep the crop trousers if you wanted to, but perhaps just putting on a relaxed blazer with it. Perhaps putting on a pair of wedges, perhaps, as I said, adding a crossbody bag. There are a few things that you can do to that outfit just to make it a little bit more stylish. And I'm also going to see if I can dig out some Instagram reels that I did where I've taken just a plain navy outfit and I've just dressed it up a little bit to look a little bit more stylish. So that's one of the things that I am going to be focusing. I know that a lot of you have outfits that you wear every day, but you want them just to be a little bit more stylish if you're going from home to perhaps coffee with a friend or going shopping or something like that. And it's really about how you style things now. So we will be looking at ideas for that as well. A lot of my clients have mentioned to me things like, well, you know, I go dog walking and I get dirty, and do I need to be dressed up to go for a walk with the dog? Well, no, of course you don't. But you could have a coat that is in a really good colour for you. You could have a great pair of wellies or a great pair of walking boots. Just those little things that make you feel good about yourself. Now, I've been going out and walking every day, and I wouldn't come on to film a video with you after I've been for a walk, but what I will tell you is I do have nice walking leggings, and so I feel good when I'm out walking. I feel good about going and getting those clothes out and putting them on to go out walking. I've treated myself to some new things to wear that make me feel good. So with that said, I also wanted to go back to this thing about what we're being targeted with as women over 50. And my mission is to find you brands that are going to treat you with the respect that you deserve and not treat you like somebody who's going to be put out to pasture. And of course this year, I think I've said to you, I will be turning 60. There is no way that I am going to stop wearing things that are on trend. I'm not going to be a fashion victim, but I am going to make an effort to make sure that I'm not stuck in a rut, that I don't start to look boring and frumpy, and that I can be forgotten about. Because this is our time. If you're over 50, it may be that you're retired, it may be that you have more disposable income, it may be that you have more time that you can spend on yourself. So let's enjoy it. And that's the whole ethos really behind me doing this series of building your perfect wardrobe, because you've got to the point now where you really do deserve it. It's time for us to break out of the shadows of being over 50, over 60, over 70, whatever you are, and to say, I'm going to enjoy life, I'm going to enjoy getting dressed up, I'm going to enjoy the way that I look, and I'm going to feel confident about it. So I hope that's persuaded you that it is important about what you wear, and I hope you're looking forward to the new series. I've had lots of comments from you saying that you are looking forward to it, and with some questions that you want included. So make sure that you are subscribed to my channel so that you do know when those videos are released. I'm also going to be doing a spring capsule wardrobe video coming very soon. It might be next week, it might not be till the week after. But in the meantime, the next video in the series is going to be the one about colour. So if you're looking forward to that, or if you've got any questions about that, then please do leave them down in the comments section. And other than that, I hope you did enjoy this video. Please do give it a thumbs up if you did. Don't forget that every like, every comment, every one of you that subscribes does help keep this channel going. So if you like it, I would be so grateful if you support it in that way. And other than that, I will see you next week. Bye for now.